Hi guys, welcome to the analysis for July 31st. It's Tuesday and things in the market are beginning to roll along here. Um, the first thing I'm going to do is pull over our terms of service to get that out of the way, so give me 1 second. And here they are. This is obviously the terms of service for this daily analysis, and the main thing to understand is that we're not licensed or registered to provide investment advice. This is purely an educational thing that we do for you guys. So the United States government wants us to be very clear about that. All right, let us look at the news very quickly. Now, there's not a whole lot going on during tomorrow's New York session. 8:30 a.m. news is normally the main thing that we're looking for, but there's none of that tomorrow. However, we do have 8:15 news, which is non-farm employment change for the United States dollar. So that's very important. And then later on in the New York session at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, that's followed up with ISM manufacturing. So definitely keep your eye out on that. And then some unusual news because of the FOMC is 2:15 p.m., which is kind of during the slow time. So we don't normally see that. So also make sure that you're aware of that. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into our now. Now, the first thing we're looking at here is $0. And note that it's kind of struggling at this level, which is the previous level that rallied at before, broke through the second time, and on its way up is struggling at. So that's a good indication that it might be heading back down to make a new low. But of course, today's bar being somewhat bullish leaves us waiting to see if that's going to continue downward and go ahead and finish that. If it does, this next bar turns into a bullish bar and exceeds the previous lows, that would be a fairly good indication that it is continuing downward and that we might see a lower low. So certainly keep your eyes on that. And just remember that overall euro dollar is obviously in a very downward trend with a lot of momentum to the bearish side. And we'll see if the US dollar gets some positive news today, tomorrow, to turn that around and show some continuation of this downtrend. All right, let's take a quick look at the odd dollar. Now, the odd dollar, since hitting the 96.20 level down here, has been in a rally pretty much straight up. Although there have been some decent pullbacks, as we see here and here and here, but it's remained very consistent in the uptrend. Now, one thing to note is currently it's at the very top of this upward channel, and it's a channel that's been very strong thus far. So one might expect a retrace in this area before it continues up. However, with the upward momentum, it is probably a relatively dangerous sell, something that I would not be very keen on shorting the odd dollar at this point, just because you never know when it's going to break out of the top of this and actually steepen the uptrend. So one thing that you might consider is looking for a different U.S. dollar pair to go long on. For instance, shorting the pound dollar rather than the odd dollar might be a wise choice here, even though it is at a very crucial resistance level. Okay, so that's the odd dollar. Definitely at a key level, but something that you'd might want to be wary about taking short because the odd has just shown such consistent and impressive strength over the past few months. With that, we're going to go ahead and switch to the US yen very quickly. Now, with the US yen, again, we see definitely a very bearish direction overall. But one thing that we're probably waiting for is, well, at least I'm waiting for, is for it to hit this level here on the way back down. As you can see, it's a previously tested level in a few different areas. So I definitely would like to see it come down and hit that level again, just to either get a strong price reaction of a bounce or a break and a continuation in the downward direction. And hopefully we could see a meet of this trend line and see some continuation of that downtrend, which would provide us with a lot of good trade opportunities. So that's something definitely to keep an eye out for as well. And overall, US yen just moving too slow as far as I'm concerned to be taking trades on, because there's a lot better movement in the market elsewhere. So just keep an eye on that for that level. But other than that, I don't think there's a lot of great things to take out of the US yen at this point in time. All right, next we're going to move on and take a look at the pound New Zealand, because we haven't taken a look at that in a little bit of time here. So let's go ahead and check that out. And of course, the reason that I want to look at the pound New Zealand is because since this rally, I haven't been really looking at trades because I like to take the pound New Zealand short, not only because there's a lot of momentum to the downside, considering its history, but also because there's very positive swap or rollover taking pound New Zealand short. So I'm not really interested in taking most longs. However, we did have a very nice topping tail here that you can see. And since that topping tail, it has been headed straight down for about 5 consecutive days. And we can see that right now it's testing this previous low. So a break of this level would probably be a great continuation opportunity. Perhaps we get a break, a retest, and a continuation, and we have a really great short opportunity there. To perhaps gather a lot of pips on, which of course is always something that I'm interested in and that you're probably interested in as well. So definitely keep an eye on this level. Right now it's bumping against it. Slight retrace so far, but definitely not out of the picture for it to continue through here in the next day or two. So definitely keep your eyes out for that and make sure that you're watching that level very closely. All right, with that said, let's move on. I'm going to take a look at the Euro odd really quick. And of course, the Euro odd is a pair that has just been collapsing in recent history, and we can see that it tried to build a base here. It made one very strong bullish bar on a weak Australian day, and kind of tried to build a base heading upward, but was definitely rejected and turned back to the downside. However, it didn't make much of a new low. It did break this low, but not by very many pips. And we saw an immediate bullish bar today. So that leaves you to believe whether it still is trying to build a base and make some kind of rally to the upside. Obviously, with the euro weakness and odd continuing to be relatively strong, it's hard to believe that any kind of rally could really form in the upward direction. But it's something to keep an eye on because if it does manage to make a rally, the rally could be very steep. Oftentimes, after a collapse like this, if there is a rally, the rally is even steeper than the collapse. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And even if it doesn't rally, which I obviously don't really expect that to happen, a continuation of this downtrend to the next level is definitely something that you're going to want to take the ride for because there'll be a lot of pips and obviously high probability setups considering the overall downtrend that we're in. So definitely keep your eye on that and make sure you take advantage if it does break that level. Okay, I think that's the last pair that I'm going to cover today. I just wanted to give you an overview of some of the pairs. We covered a euro pair, an odd pair, a yen pair. We covered most of the pairs, or at least most of the currencies in the pairs. So hopefully that'll give you somewhat of an idea to look for. Just to give you a little point of reference for the Canadian dollar, let's look at the Canadian dollar really quickly before we go. Now, the reason I don't show the USD CAD, or I haven't shown it as much lately, is because it's almost mirroring the odd dollar identically. Odd and CAD are running together, and obviously the US dollar is the common denominator there. So it's just something that I haven't really shown a lot of lately because I'm paying more attention to the odd, and they're basically doing the same thing, obviously in the reverse. But anyway, odd dollar is testing the upward channel, and obviously you can see that USD CAD is testing the downward channel. So, very similar to what I said with the odd. It's probably a nice long setup because of the very strong area, but with the downward momentum, it's probably somewhat risky to take the trade. If you're going to use a tight stop loss and it does bounce strongly, then it might be a decent probability trade to target towards the top of the trend line and take it long. But overall, you do want to take things that are in concordance with the current trend. So you may want to wait until it does bounce and then take it short, for a higher probability setup. But either way, the channel's pretty strong and it's somewhat sideways, so it's not like it's a straight down channel where there's no pips to be found. There's definitely pips to be found in either direction. So keep an eye on that for sure. And whether you trade odd dollar or USD CAD, I don't think I'd advise trading both because that kind of just doubles your risk on the same type of trend or same type of trade, excuse me. But still, different opportunities depending on how you look at it. Obviously, CAD and AUD are very different currencies, even though they're running very similar right now. But yeah, just keep that in mind, and you know, watch that channel as it continues. Eventually, these lines are going to be broken, of course, even though they look very strong right now. And when they do, then that'll present a good trade opportunity as well. All right, so I covered most of the major currencies there, and I think that's probably a pretty decent outlook, for the day. I hope that was helpful to you. And if you do have any questions or thoughts, as always, feel free to leave those in a comment below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. All right, guys, thanks for joining me with today's daily analysis. I look forward to talking to you soon, and hope that you have a great day.